Welcome back to Hangry District in Westeros. In this episode, we're going to make a side dish to go along with your beef and bacon pie, and that is staying with the Winterfell theme, and we will be making onions and gravy. So Thomas, tell us a little bit about the roasted onions and gravy during the Game of Thrones.
Ben Stark laughed. As I feared. Ah, well. I believe I was younger than you the first time I got truly and sincerely drunk. He snagged a roasted onion, dripping brown with gravy, from a nearby trencher and bit into it. It crunched.
Okay, so the first thing we want to do is prepare our gravy. And I have gone ahead and quartered up to 7 of these little pearl onions. So basically you just set it on your board, the flat side down, and then just make a cross in it to quarter it. Peeling these little pearl onions is quite a task. It probably took me 30 minutes to do 2 small bags. And what I was looking for was the frozen pearl onions. I highly recommend using those for this recipe if you can. Otherwise, just make yourself very familiar with a paring knife. You're just gonna take off the top and the bottom of the onion, make 1 small slit down the onion, and then just peel it back. And you'll have to peel all of these, but it is worth it. These are very delicious. They're also used in one of my favorite French classics, beef bourguignon. So get ready to cry and use your little paring knife. Okay, so what we're gonna do is heat up our pan that we made previously with our beef and bacon pie, because it still has lots of yummy flavors in it, and we don't wanna waste those flavors. And I'm going to take my local honey from DC. I highly recommend using local honey if you can. It's also really good for allergies. If you have a spoonful every morning, it will help with the allergies in your area if it's local.
Interesting.
Yes.
Why is that?
Because the bees pollinate from all of the allergens in the air of where you're living. So
makes sense.
Gets you familiar with the. Great.
Perhaps a smaller spoon.
Maybe. So a smaller one, isn't there, Lord? I don't think there is. We'll use a cheese knife. So we're going to get about a teaspoon of honey and put it into the frying pan. Let it melt.
And what is the honey doing? Just adding flavor?
Oh, it's gonna add sweetness to these onions, for sure. A natural sweetness, instead of using sugar. Lord Thomas, what's our next step?
Well, we're gonna add the cut onions as well as the butter.
Okay. So how much butter do we have here?
I believe it's 1 tablespoon.
Okay. So we're making our honey butter right now.
Yes.
So I have this over medium heat. Just listen to your pan. You don't want the honey to burn. And we'll add our quartered 7 pearl onions.
What kind of sound are you listening for?
Sizzle. You
And
hear that?
What would be bad sound?
Crackling. Like a pop. Okay. So we're gonna let these cook for how long?
About 8 minutes or until they turn golden brown.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Golden like the Lannisters' gold. That
Right,
helps.
yes.
That helps, I'm sure.
Yes, perfect. All right, well, I guess we'll see you back in 8 minutes. All right, so our onions are getting very golden. We're going to add some fresh rosemary. Can you smell that? What does it smell like?
Fresh rosemary?
Caramel, rosemary.
Ah, you mean yes, the honey has a very distinct.
Yes, so now we're going
flavor.
to add some cider, just a splash at a time to deglaze the pan. You see that steam? That's when you want to get all the brown bits up from the pan.
Now I noticed your hood isn't on. Is that
Correct.
going to cause problems later, or?
No, it's not on since we're filming right now. But it can be really helpful if you're in the kitchen without a camera. All right, so our next step is we're going to dust in some flour. Right, Lord Thomas?
That is correct.
And this will create sort of a roux, a thickening agent, because we're adding it to the fat of the butter and the honey.
All the tasty parts.
Yes. And see how I've scraped up all the bits of the
There's nothing
onion.
sticking.
Right. So we're just gonna add this in, and this is a tablespoon of flour, Thomas?
I believe 2 tablespoons.
2 tablespoons, okay. Because we have about 2 tablespoons of liquid in here. You wanna do equal parts of flour and fat, or a thickening agent and fat. So cornstarch, flour, okay. And then we're going to add 3 cups of beef stock to make the gravy.
And there's 2 cups here.
2 cups here. Go ahead. Pour it in. Okay. And I'm going to get all those brown bits up from the roux, and you can go ahead and pour in 1 more cup. Okay. All right, now we're just gonna bring this up to a simmer, let it heat through, and then we'll add the rest of the onions. Right, Lord Thomas?
That's correct.
Can we add the onions now?
Yes.
All right. Be careful, splash zone. Yummy. Rinse that one off. No onion can be spared. Okay, so we'll let these come up to a simmer, and so we'll let these onions come up to a simmer and let them warm up for about 5 to 8 minutes, and then we'll serve them with our beef and bacon pie. All right, so our onions and gravy have been simmering for about 10 minutes, and we are ready to plate them up and try them. How do they smell?
Great.
All right, if you want to get 2 spoons out for us, or forks, I'm going to attempt to pour this in this bowl without making a huge mess. Can you scrape the rest of the onions down? When making a Game of Thrones feast, it's very important to have a friend with you, because you never want to be alone in Westeros, right?
Right. That's how you get mugged.
And netted.
Taken across the narrow sea.
All right. So, we've got our beautiful onions and gravy. Do you want to give it a try?
It looks pretty hot.
It's gonna be hot, but we can do this. Get a small one.
I'll get my own.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna feed you.
Thanks.
Okay. I was wondering why you were hesitating. That's a big one. That's gonna be really hot. Okay?
That's what I've trained for.
Cheers. Thanks for watching Hangry District. Keep watching the Game of Thrones series to see how to complete your feast across Westeros. Thanks, Lord Thomas. Oh my gosh.
Delectable.
So good. You can really taste the honey and the herbs. This is a feast fit for a king or a lord or a mother of dragons. Bye.